it. But first, couple of big plays from last night. Start with Bucks Grizzlies. Jermichael Green drives to the basket, dunks on Ersan Ilyasova.
Get out of the way, Ersan.
Get out the way.
Thank you, Jenna.
Ersan.
Get boomed on.
Get boomed on.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, Jenna.
I thought.
Either contest or get out the way.
Man, I've been dunked on before. It ain't no big deal. You got to get above. I have.
I know, see, but I guarantee you weren't dunked on trying to take a soft charge. You were dunked on trying to block the shot.
All right, wait, more from this game. Hold on. Giannis backs down Justin Holiday and then dunks all over Marc Gasol.
Now, this is Marc Gasol really trying to contest. Marc Gasol, a little flat-footed in his older age, doing his best here. Giannis with the go-go gadget.
That's what I try to tell you, that you taking a charge sometime, Nick, is doing your best.
All right, fair point.
Nick's like, do your best in there, son. Oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this charge because I can't block it.
Raptors, Celtics, Kyrie gets the loose ball, delivers the perfect no-look to Gordon.
Now, that's Kyrie's best.
One of a career-high 18 assists in one of the best all-around games Kyrie's ever played.
I would be willing to challenge anyone who knows about Kyrie and knows about his whole basketball history. Has he ever had that many assists in a game? You'd have to lock him in.
Date back to high school. Certainly not at Duke, and it's his career high in the NBA.
Speaking of the best, let's talk Patriots. In case you're new to football, this is a good team. This team wins a lot of games. In fact, since 2010, they've won 127 games, making this the winningest decade in NFL history for one franchise, breaking a record previously held by the Patriots. And that happened last decade. And through it all, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid thinks Tom Brady is still as good as he's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any decline, and I haven't seen him get any slower. So, I mean, he's not. That's not his deal. He's not going to run and do all that unless he has to. But I mean, he's as accurate. He sees things better than even when he did when he was younger. So he sees. I'm wearing glasses. He doesn't. Right. So the age thing hasn't hit him.
It hit me and Cece, but it hasn't hit Tom Brady. Cece, what's been the most impressive part of this Patriots 2-decade-long run?
There's so many numbers that you can look at. You can look at appearances, playoff appearances, 10-win seasons, number of times that they've been the number 1 or 2 seed, how well they do at home, how well they do against young quarterbacks. Like, there's so many numbers that it's overwhelming. To me, the most impressive thing has been in this time that we're in, the rules of the game have changed. Free agency has changed. How you're going to have your roster, and 60% of NFL rosters on each team changes every year. And they've been able to not only be consistent, but style-wise they've changed. It's like earlier in their career, they were like Marvin Hagler. And then at some point in their career, they turned into Sugar Ray Leonard, where they wanted to be an offensive team, high-flying and high-scoring team. So Belichick has changed. They're hiring all these young baby-face coaches, and Belichick is still winning in this league. So he's been able to sustain that through the changes, not only the rule changes, but free agency and how that's changed how teams are going to acquire their talent, how they're going to draft their talent, and how they're going to formulate their rosters.
To me, the most impressive part of the run specifically, because what Chris is talking about is almost intangibly, like the different machinations of this team. But specifically, the most impressive part of this run is what has happened over the last 4 years. Because I want people to take themselves to a place where we are entering the fourth quarter of the Pats-Seahawks Super Bowl. In that moment, the Patriots are down 24-14. They had not won a Super Bowl in a decade. They were about to lose their 3rd consecutive Super Bowl, and the questions, a lot of the stuff LeBron deals with as far as finals record when compared to Jordan, Brady was going to deal with that compared to Montana. Like, Montana's 4-0, you're 3-3. Since the start of that fourth quarter of the Super Bowl against Seattle, here's what this team has done. Scored 14 straight to win that Super Bowl. The next year, come within a 2-point conversion away from going to another Super Bowl, instead losing to the team that wins the championship, the Broncos. The next year, scores 31 unanswered points to win that Super Bowl. The next year, has the ball down 5 driving with an opportunity to win another Super Bowl. And the next year is this year, and we'll see what happens if they go on the road and beat Kansas City. But they started this run with 3 championships in 4 years, which is as good as any team in NFL history has done in a 4-year stretch. If they win 2 more games, they will end the run with a better 5 years than they started the run. That shouldn't be possible given the age of the quarterback, the change in the league. That, to me, is the part of this that will never be duplicated.
For me, the most interesting part is, what's the one theme we talked about this year and going into next year with the coaches? Is there, if you walked by Sean McVay, you're a head coaching candidate. Everyone wants to have the young, hot play calling new head coach. And when it comes to quarterbacks, the minute they show the tiny bit of rust, people want to move on from them and calling for their heads. And yet for 2 decades, it has been Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, for the most part, doing it.
To C's point, and you can elaborate on this, they got the young, sexy head coach candidate in the way Belichick has evolved. He doesn't look, he's not actually young, and he doesn't.
Right, he's been able to
You got
change.
all the attributes of these young candidates to go along with the experience, his defensive expertise, because he has reinvented how he coaches this team 3 separate times.
Yeah, that's very flattering, but there's not, even since he was a baby, there's nothing been called sexy about Bill Belichick. But what he's been able to do, how he's been able to do it, it's very, very special. And it starts with the Kraft and their family. It started with Mr. Kraft, Robert Kraft, sitting in the bleachers and watching an awful Patriots team for years and years and years. And he ultimately wanted to own that team. And he changed in going out. He traded a draft pick. All these guys are going after these young guys. He knew who he wanted. He traded a draft pick to go out and get Bill Belichick. Let's not forget how this got started. So you got to give RKK, that's what he likes to go by, you got to give him credit, because you can't do this. You have to have something that's bigger than Belichick. You have to have something that's bigger than Tom Brady. Because you know what? After you've been married for a long time, typically you start growing apart. And that's what happened to these two with Garoppolo. In some type of way, Mr. Kraft has been able to bring them back together. They tried to take Josh McDaniel away. No, he brought him back into the fold. So you have to realize that, yeah, Belichick's going to get a lot of credit. Brady's going to get a lot of credit. Both of them considered to be the GOATs. But no one talks about the person who drafted and hired both of them. That's in RKK. He needs a lot of credit for this tremendous run that they've been on.
And Jenna, to your point about when the quarterback starts to show a little bit of crack, the Patriots were ready for that with Jimmy Garoppolo. When Brady started to show a little deterioration at the mid part of this decade, that's when they went out and spent a premium draft pick on Jimmy Garoppolo. And the year that it was potentially going to be the torch passing, last year, Tom Brady went out and won the league MVP. And they had just won a Super Bowl, and they got to another one. And this year, he played so well over the previous 4, they felt they didn't need a backup plan this year. And even though his numbers were all down, they're back in the Final 4 once again. And if you listen to the folks in Boston, they're about to be back in their 9th Super Bowl.
It's really something. Quite impressive. All right, let's take a break. Speak some basketball on the other side. Why did Kyrie pick up the phone and call LeBron? We'll hear from him next on First Things First.